Hi, and welcome to the Backyard Road Trips podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Jim.
And today we have a very special guest, a return appearance, shall we say,
You might be overstating it with very special.
from the man himself, the Wolfman himself, Lon Cheney.
No, Lon Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
He's a distant family member. People get this wrong all the time. Lon Cheney and Dick Cheney, they're brothers. But we are
right.
part of a different branch.
I saw Lon
from the
Cheney
Mayflower.
Jr. over at the, what's that?
Who was the other name?
Lon Cheney Jr. at that line from Werewolves of London.
Lon Cheney, the actor, had
Yeah.
a son and named him Junior.
Isn't that a reference into Werewolves of London? Anybody?
Oh,
No idea.
no. We don't know who. Well, that's the only line I know from the song.
So you introduce yourself, and I'm going to look that lyric up.
Okay, I am Lon Cheney Jr. No, I am Ian Cheney. And yes, this is my second time on this show, and I feel so valued. Is To the Record?
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
two is, well, I think that this is, you're saying this To the Record, but
2 appearances on
yes,
the show.
I think that that's correct. I don't know why Zach's apologizing.
I thought Andrew's been on more than 2.
Oh, I thought is To the Record for return guests?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, Andrew.
What did you think I meant?
I thought, is this the second one that we're calling it? Because unbeknownst to our listeners, we've actually been recording a second podcast.
That's why I'm here.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
Okay, I get it.
great
Oh,
segue.
So,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
you're saying my second appearance is not the record for Backyard Road Trips.
No.
Who holds that record?
It's got to be Drew.
Yeah, he's been.
How many?
100? Maybe 200?
I would say 3, if not 4.
Had cinnamon. Yeah, we had
He's been in Danny, but Danny doesn't really count. My son.
pipe in a blanket, cinnamon.
Yeah,
the
and then
COVID one.
Yeah, at least 3, if not 4.
Yeah.
You're tying
how-
Adam Coletti though. You're in good company. He was 2.
Okay, so
he
I
was a
tied Adam,
two-parter.
but I still trail Andy.
Yeah.
And how many books has Andy written?
He's written. He has no books, but a lot of bomb.
Okay.
He's the bomb.
Well, there's something wrong with the record right now. You have a published author right here sitting
Mhm.
next to you who's only been on twice, and this other guy who's written no books like 4 times.
Hack, a complete hack. And here are the lyrics. Well, I saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the Werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the Werewolves of London. I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. It really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Really rolls off the tongue. So we have the Cheney brothers.
Yeah.
And I only found out that your name was Cheney and not Cheney
Well,
earlier this year.
Quite recently, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
people make that mistake. I don't know why. There's nothing in the Cheney spelling of the word that suggests it's a long A sound,
like a chain. No.
like a chain.
Not at all.
Nothing, and
Chain
yet
of
that's
fools.
what people say, and it gets under my skin to this day.
Mm. So is Dick a Cheney or Cheney?
So I think there was a press conference on this once.
Okay.
It was somewhere in between, bombing this village and another one, where he said,
And quail
"Listen,
hunting.
when you pronounce my name, it's Cheney." And the press kind of went along with it, but they kind of reverted back to their Cheney
Mm-hmm.
default. And yeah, it set my family back a century.
How about Lon?
That's a Cheney because that's CHA.
Okay, that is.
Yeah.
So a lot of us don't know our vowels. You just kind of
That's
mix
the problem
them up.
with this country.
Just
I've always said
mixing
this.
up vowels.
It's the vowel.
Yeah.
It's a
What I call a vowel foul.
that's that's an excellent joke.
So thank you. I've been saving it
Yeah,
in the
for
back
this
of my
very moment.
cerebellum.
Pretty
Yes.
good.
The cerebellum in the back of the front.
So
I'm not
you're
sure.
saying for how long now you've been saying I can't wait to say vowel foul, and then you found your opportunity.
it was about-
Wow. That was a good drop.
It was about 5 seconds. I've been thinking about it and
Tremendous.
did it.
Why am I here again?
I'm wondering, that's pretty existential if you think about it. Well, should we talk about our new
Yeah.
project?
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Ian, we're all here recording in at the NFA campus, which is the high school that we all love, know and love in our hearts,
And
our-
went to. We
and
went to.
yeah. And you had a great idea, and you contacted us after your first appearance on the Backyard Road Trips. What was this great idea?
Okay. Well, I wouldn't call it a great idea. It was just an idea, and you guys made it great.
Oh,
That's
see,
no.
you already got paid for the episode, so
Right,
You
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to sauce us up anymore.
So this idea came after my first appearance on your show, and it was that I had a really great time. Most obviously because of the two of you. You're tremendous co-hosts of this podcast. I couldn't believe how comfortable I felt with you guys, and I had a great time. And I'm like, I would love to do something like that again. I wonder what idea I could have for a podcast like those two had. And then just randomly, I'm thinking about, we just had our 20th anniversary. We were all members of the class of 2001, and upcoming is 25th. And I don't know how, but it just struck me like a lightning bolt. What if the podcast was interviewing members of that graduating class ahead of our 25th anniversary? And that's our silver anniversary. So I had this idea that we could call it Red and White at Silver. Red and white being our school colors, also the name of our school newspaper. At Silver, our 25th anniversary. And all I needed was a couple of great co-hosts and someone who's a technical wizard, as Jim Wheeler is, to record these and edit these. And I thought it could be a really cool idea to interview people from that graduating class and assemble them all into one podcast feed and see what everyone's been up to.
I thought it was a fantastic idea myself, and it's been really fun. We've recorded a few episodes, not released yet. They're only going to be released in the school year 25, 26.
Right.
But it's been really cool. Like, just being able to connect with some folks that haven't really heard from.
Yeah,
in a
we
long
haven't
time.
seen a lot of these people, talk to them, and they all have had some really great stories. So we have recorded more than a few episodes. We had a few sessions, and we're basically getting 3 people a session. They each do an individual interview. And today we happen to have a gap between 2 people.
Mhm.
And so we thought, hey, you know what? We should do a backyard road trips episode, but we're gonna talk to Ian. We're gonna have him back on as a guest, and maybe we could talk about some of the people who listen to the backyard road trips. We could talk at them, maybe encourage them to come on to one of these episodes if you haven't been asked already, or if you're interested in it, because it's been super, super cool catching up with people, hearing about their lives so far. Everyone has, I'd say, one, really interesting lives, even if you think that, hey, I'm a boring person, but everyone's had a really interesting story to tell. And 2, we're definitely seeing a collective love or fond memory of just their time at NFA and how impactful that was with their lives and where it took them.
Yeah, and we're trying to capture all that. And we have the NFA Foundation's support. It's in fact why we're able to record this here on the NFA campus, as we have with each of our recording sessions. And we've had a bunch of people on. Our class president, Morgan Miller, has been on. We've had the class couple, Mike LaValle and Danielle Dunn, who ended up getting married and are now still married with 2 kids. It's really been incredible to catch up with some of these people. And I'm hoping that this podcast and other ways we reach out will start to get people that we actually haven't talked to at all since high school and can really catch up with all sorts of people. So really hope that more people reach out to us.
And I do think going to NFA, so for those listeners that are not familiar with Norwich Free Academy or Norwich or Connecticut at all, or even maybe the state of Connecticut, just to give you a little
First and foremost, shame on you.
Of course,
Shame.
yeah. Why are you even listening? So one thing to say about NFA is that there are 9 towns that feed into NFA, as well as students can go to NFA from anywhere else in the state by paying tuition. But it's an independent school, meaning it's public for the towns around and private for anyone that wants to come from out of state or even out of the country. So NFA has had a real influx of students from countries such as China in the last few years since we've been there. And it's really, it's an international school now. And more than that, you have these 9 towns in Eastern Connecticut that are very diverse in nature. You have Norwich, which is a small city, which has extremely diverse population, has a large, even new immigrant groups from there. And then you have towns like Franklin and Basra that probably have more cows than they do people. So it's
True.
the juxtaposition between students at the school, especially being a 9th grader coming into there and seeing just just different experiences, I think fosters what becomes interesting adults. And so the people that we've talked to have certainly really hit that nail on the head.
Couldn't agree more. And as a child from one of those sending schools, I was from Sprague. My graduating class, we were K through 8 school at Sales School, and I graduated with, I think, maybe 34 people to come to NFA and see an incredible campus with an incredible faculty and numerous activities. It was extraordinary. And we all agree it's extraordinary. Every guest we've had on has agreed it was extraordinary. And we think it's worth capturing. The foundation tells me they haven't done anything remotely like what we're doing here. It's really a new, unique opportunity to capture a little bit of history while it's still fresh enough in our minds that we can remember that history. And then hopefully it lasts forever. And so I'm really excited about the project. I'm so grateful for the 2 of you for going along with it.
I'll tell you, I thought that was this really unique thing that sold me too was just that nothing like this is done. Like, I feel like if you're listening to just podcasts anywhere, like even if I had no association with some school, I would have thought that the concept is really interesting. That some people are getting together and sort of catching up. Where have you been? Who have you
Yeah.
been for the last 25 years? That's such a cool idea. And then like recording it, like what a cool way of like archiving your experience of some graduating class. So neat. Yep.
Right.
Remember that to anyone listening. So please, if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to us directly, Backyard Road Trips is available on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as I said at every end of episode, but also email backyardroadtrips@gmail.com. But if you'd rather go to the NFA Foundation, please reach out to them too, and they can connect with us as well, or connect you to us, I should say. So there are ample opportunities and ways you can reach out. And also, if you're not close to geographically anymore, you can Zoom. There's many ways to get you on here. If you're in the Boston area, you can come down to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and record down there. So we have many different ways that we can get you onto this podcast to really have you share your experiences.
Ian, when you were because we both came from small schools, all right, and I think you
You-
actually had a bigger graduating class than me.
Is that Franklin? What was Franklin's class in
I was
97?
it
Tell
was
me.
if it even hit 30, I think I would be estimating too high. But and not everyone. I don't know about you. I mean, did you have other options besides NFA to go to?
Sure.
Where
yeah.
else? I mean,
Uh,
Norwich Tech, I assume.
Yep,
or-
Norwich
yeah.
Tech, Griswold was an option,
Uh-huh.
a few others, but yeah, NFA was always the
How
number one.
many of your class went to NFA?
Well, percent-wise, I would say it was 80 to 90%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Were you intimidated by the Zack posse of all the Norwich kids who are like clearly the biggest group of incoming students and who already knew each other? And then that was my experience.
It was extraordinarily intimidating, actually. No joke. I mean, Zach, obviously intimidating to this day.
Always.
Yeah.
But for a kid from a small town, is there actually like some musical or movie we can pull from us where a small town kid has to go to the big city? Surely there's something. I feel like
Irrelevant.
there's some rube, right, who goes to the city and
Mhm.
gets taken advantage of, or is very nice and no one else is. I don't know. Anyway,
I
that's
think
what I
that-
felt like.
I think it was the movie Break-In. No, not Break-In. Sorry. Fast Forward. They go from Sandusky, Ohio, all the way to New York to try to make it big as street performers / professional dancers.
Coincidentally, I was a street performer in Sprague, and so the parallel works really well. So I come to NFA, fail at street performing, so I focus on my studies. And no, but I was really scared. In fact, I remember thinking at 8th grade, like, this is as happy as I'm ever going to be. This is true. This is as happy as I'm ever going to be. My life is about to be awful because it's going to be just so many people I don't know and all these strangers. And then by the end of high school, I'm like, this is as happy as I'm ever going to be here at NFA. And then I'm terrified of going to the next place. It was just such a great experience. And I hope every young kid in 8th grade worried about NFA, don't be worried. It's the best opportunity you could possibly have at this age.
Yeah.
And that's so different from where most schools, if you have a town, like let's say you're in, maybe I'll mention Waterford. So if you're in Waterford, you go to an elementary school, your middle school is bigger. I'm not sure if there's one or two middle schools.
Just one.
Just one. So everyone filters into that middle school. Then that same group of kids filter into the high school.
Right.
So there's
With no outside towns then joining them
Exactly.
at 9th grade. Right?
Exactly.
It's the
So-
same group.
And through that, you have, if a kid does something silly in 7th grade and has, everyone laughing at them, they're still going to know that in 9th grade. Where if you do something asinine in 7th
Fresh
grade,
start.
it's a fresh start. So it's
Yeah.
almost that college-like mentality going into a high school, which again, you have lots of people that you pull from different experience. You can kind of rewrite your own story going into that instead of, Ian peed his pants in kindergarten. Everybody
Who
from
told you?
So everyone from Sprague knows that. So, but going to 9th grade, you don't have to talk to anyone from Sprague anymore.
Right. I couldn't agree more. So I think NFA often gets compared to a college experience. Usually, I think you have to walk outside and there's always multiple buildings. And of course, in that way, it very much is reminiscent of a college campus. But I love that point as well. The sheer diversity of people coming from all sorts of different places with dissimilar backgrounds coming together into a sort of melting pot and all becoming wildcats together. Absolutely, it's like a college feel. And you just don't see that in high schools. It's very unusual at the high school level to have that, and NFA has that. Yet one more reason to try to have a podcast dedicated to its graduates.
And the opportunity, because again, coming from small school, feeling intimidated by that, and then you had a pretty prominent role in our class government. I mean,
Mm.
you went from being the guy from
a populist.
where
too,
the
I
hell
believe.
is Hanover to? Yes, no,
Put Hanover on the map, you're saying?
yes. I mean, I'd say you are actually the most famous person from Hanover. I mean, is that not?
Uh,
true
Maybe
anymore,
his
I guess?
father. Your dad's
Lon
written it.
Cheney Sr.
So the funny part, Lon Cheney Sr. is, so I was doing research for my History Lover's Guide to the South Shore.
Yeah.
My neighbor comes over with a bunch of books, and he's like, "Oh, these might be of some interest to you." One of them, Thanksgiving by your father.
Oh, sure, yeah.
My neighbor in Plymouth. I'm
Yep.
saying.
He's been up to Plymouth, Massachusetts plenty of
Oh,
times.
yeah.
For that book. Yeah, and everyone should buy it. Help my inheritance.
Mhm.
That is Glenn Allen Cheney's Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's about his
prominent-
favorite
so-
side dishes.
So Jim mentions my prominence. Yeah, I was listen again. The Rube goes to the city, and I rise up the ranks and I make a name for myself. And I did become ended up our class vice president by senior year. But as I told one of our guests, President Morgan Miller, I didn't know exactly how to execute that job as vice president. Perhaps I was thinking,
You didn't shoot anyone.
well, that's true. Unlike Uncle Dick, I did not shoot anyone in the face.
you pulling an Aaron Burr?
We've
Uncle Dick.
Well, you're right.
Okay.
We've had 2 sitting vice presidents who shot another man.
This is
That is
true.
an extraordinary feat in the United States of America. And so I didn't
Unintentionally.
quite know how to do the job. I think at the time maybe I was telling myself, well, the real vice president doesn't do anything unless there's like a tie to break in the Senate. So maybe I don't do anything unless there's some sort of tie. So I do feel badly that I kind of dropped the ball on that, but I did win on a populist message, as Zach mentioned. I remember I was somewhere in the middle of the class, ranked around 50%, and I tried to use that to my advantage because I knew I was running against a whole bunch of high achievers. I'm like, well, if I can go win all the low achievers in this election, and it turned out it somehow worked.
Yep.
And
As the low achiever, you had my vote.
thank
Yeah,
you. Right,
yeah.
Jim knows.
Now wait a second. Did we use Dominion for our voting system?
Yeah, that really helped actually.
Okay.
And we harvested a lot of ballots. And this will be really funny when this airs after Trump wins again. We don't have a democracy anymore. But and anyway, long story short, I made the most of my NFA experience. I think that's what Jim's mentioning.
Yes.
I joined a couple of sports teams. I ran cross country with Zach. I played baseball and yes, class government, and it was so fun.
Tell me about Chase Going Woodhouse.
No,
Gesundheit. What is that?
I'm just we're trying to argue seeing if he's the most famous person out of Sprague. First of all, the first person
Zach is
listed
looking at Wikipedia.
on Wikipedia is your father,
He's number 1.
number 1.
Yeah, I think he edited that page.
Yeah, probably alphabetical order doesn't help. Doesn't hurt. We have Leo Connellan,
Oh, Leo Cannellan. He was
Cannellan.
a poet laureate
He
of the
sure
state of
was.
Connecticut, I think.
and I gotta say the longevity of people from Sprague is quite impressive.
Clean
You've
air,
got
clean water,
Leo, yeah, because that paper mill right down the street.
except for that.
So, or the cardboard place.
And-
So Leo lasted. He lived a long life. Then you have Charles S. Whitman, the judge and 41st governor of New York, was born in town. He was from 1868 to 1947. And then my favorite, Chase Going Woodhouse. It should be maybe going the outhouse. I'm gonna chase myself going to the outhouse. He lived from 1890 to 1984. So good. What's that? A good 90. I should probably be able to 94 years.
Yeah.
He was a feminist leader, or maybe Chase is a female. I don't know. Suffragist, educator, and U.S. representative. And Chase is a woman.
Okay.
So
You want to
So,
start over?
Stack.
So I would
No.
No.
He gets canceled like the rest of us.
So-
That's how this works.
Chase. I just you think like Paw Patrol. Chase is on the case. That's a
Yeah.
male. That's a
Oh,
male
Paw
dog.
Patrol reference. Good.
So or Chase. What other kind of
Chase Utley.
Chase Utley? Exactly.
Maybe the one that would have been more familiar to you, but your Paw Patrol is what's
Chase
in our
Clark.
hearts.
Yep.
Who?
Chase Clark? We
Graduated
with Chase
of
Clark.
2001.
Yeah.
So definitely. So there's a lot of pretty well heeled folks from Sprague, but I would say the Cheneys are up there with Lon and Jr.
Zach, we really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, definitely sitting at Trader Vic's.
Fellas,
Mm-hmm.
what do you got going on? You're both teachers.
Yeah.
And so that
Yes.
means you get a break coming up, thank God.
You do too.
Not really.
You got a 2-weeker.
I am taking 2 weeks off, but we don't get
okay.
to. I mean, I guess semantics, but
I see.
yeah, we're not closed for 2 weeks and I get to go home versus I'm just taking time off. But what do you guys got planned?
We like to stay home. We'll take our trips in the summer, but that December break is pretty sacred. Not for religious reasons, which is what people usually mean by the word sacred, but not me. It's
Christmas,
just we are thoroughly exhausted. There's not only the 4 months of teaching, But then, of course, the holidays, right? That so much to do. It's relentless. And to have a
Boxing
week,
Day.
Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, obviously you got to give the servants all the boxes, etc.
The Feast of the,
So that
Feast of the
really is
Immaculate
fatiguing
Conception, isn't
because
that?
of all the servants.
Right.
And so so we like to lay low and try to rest up as much as possible.
Zach?
We this year are going to, after Christmas, going up to Vermont, as we often do. My heady topper supply is dwindling, so I got to head back there. So actually there's Vin's, which is a bird rescue place, has a light display thing at night that looks kind of cool, a canopy walk that you walk through, and it's all
That's cool.
lights. Because a lot of the Christmas events we usually do this year were actually either the tickets, it was like trying to get a Taylor Swift ticket, it was sold out right away for this like Christmas thing at Heritage Gardens that's on the Cape. This is the place we usually go to, the Cape Codder, which is a resort. They're redoing it, so they didn't do their Enchanted Village. And then the last one, our friends moved away from Kingston, Mass, and we used to do something at their house that had like a big village stroll type thing, but they moved away. So 3 of our typical ones were struck out. So 3 strikes and you're out. So we're doing this one after the season, or post Christmas.
Nice.
How about yourself? You have 5
holiday plans,
Christmases,
Jim?
I heard.
We have 5 Christmases. We have a very, very big family.
Oh,
We had the first Christmas. We had first 2. I've already been behind us, and then we've got one with my family, the 23rd, and then one with Katie's family on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and then Christmas. But I am taking
what's Christmas Day? Just you, the core, the 3 of you?
yeah, and then probably my parents and brother. He might swing by. I might see him. So I mean,
Dave Wheeler,
Dave Wheeler,
who,
my
as you
brother.
know, I'm trying desperately to get on our Red and White at Silver podcast.
And I think it worked. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Ian's a charmer. He's a real
He
charmer.
really is charming.
Can you resist this?
No. No.
I can't.
That's, I think, and I was saying this, but just for our listeners, Ian had said, "How about Dave Wheeler? We needed the slot." I sent Dave a text, and I'm not even kidding you. 30 seconds later, so what Ian said is like, you got to like appeal to the yellow team. So in like 8th grade,
Back in 8th grade, there's a shoot straight league. What were the towns? Sprague, Franklin, and Bosra, I'm
Bosra,
guessing.
Tri-town, yeah.
probably.
Tri-town. And so we get randomly placed onto these teams, and I was placed onto the yellow team in 8th grade with Jim Wheeler and with Dave Wheeler.
Yep.
And I thought, you were telling me Dave was kind of reluctant to do an episode, and I couldn't accept that. And I said, so I said, tell him, we were in the trenches together, yellow team, 8th grade. We need to share old war stories, and that seemed to soften him up.
I
he said.
sent that text to Dave. I said, and so I swear to you, not even 30 seconds later. Now, sometimes Dave doesn't respond for days. 30 seconds later, he sends a picture back of him and Ian in their basketball uniforms standing next to each other. I was like, how did you have that ready to go? It really blew my mind. So, I mean, it's kismet. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I'm glad. Those days really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And then you reminded us that you were on that team too.
I think I was, yeah. But I mean, I was...
He was filling water.
Yeah, they made shirts versus skins, and I remember taking my shirt off one time. Like, you could be shirts.
And we're like, all right,
That
you know
was
what?
pretty
Switch
chunky.
teams.
Yeah. So this is a cool thing. This episode has to air after Christmas because a thing that I'm doing, which I have not done with Katie in a while, is we're going on a little vacation because we've lived a very, I'll say, practical and frugal life. I'm very fortunate for my job at UConn. I'm very fortunate that like I have a salary where we can be a single income family. But it also means that, we've been very practical about how we spend our money. We did this thing one year. We looked at like how much we spent on like everything. It's like, all right, well, we spent, however much money it was probably like $1,000 or something eating out. And it's like, would you rather have the $1,000 right now, or would you rather have eaten out that year? It's like,
love
we'd
those
rather have the $1,000, right? So
Wait, that's not the way you should ask the question, right? Though, I mean, I would think moving forward, looking back, of course, everyone wants the 1,000, but then you lose all those memories.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I'm going is. So,
okay.
well, we did that, and it was great because we actually paid off a ton of debt. We got in a great financial situation by just taking that mindset
Good
of
for
we're just
you.
going to be really, really like
He's been online betting.
online. Yeah, we got
Oh.
on the. This is sponsored by FanDuel. Okay, and you get a promo code Backyard Road Trips, 50% off your first bet. Should just start sticking FanDuel promos in here, even though we're not sponsored by them. But that'd be pretty funny. So that's been like the life that we've been leading for a while. And I was now since like Teddy, like we just lived a super like ultra practical life. And I was like, you know what? I think I'd rather just spend the money and like go do something fun. Like we've been frugal and practical enough. Like let's do that.
You've earned it.
I think so.
Yeah.
She had mentioned that she wanted to go to Cape Cod in the winter. I had asked the other day, like a few weeks ago. I was like, "Where would you want to go?" And now at the time, there was no intention of actually going anywhere. It was just like conversation with me and Katie. She's like, "Cape Cod." And I was like, "I can't imagine going to Cape Cod. Going to the beach in the winter sounds
Yeah.
awful to me." But she's smart, and it's probably a good idea if she thinks it's going to be a good idea. So I asked Zach and was like, "Hey, where do you think we could go?" I actually found a hotel which was in what is it?
Yarmouth.
What Yarmouth?
Yarmouth.
West Yarmouth.
Yeah.
Yarmouth? How
Yarmouth.
Yarmouth.
It's
That's
like shut Yarmouth.
shut
Shut your mouth. So-
So we found a hotel, and then I booked that, so she doesn't know this yet. And then I said, "Zach, what can we do?" And he sent this awesome itinerary of all the things that you could do in different areas
Wow.
of the Cape.
I did it last block at school.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You're
It
in-
was you whipped that up.
He's
You're like,
an
"Hey, I'll
expert.
get you this Google Doc."
Yeah.
He whipped that up in like a half hour. It was awesome. So I can't wait to like present that to her. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be the Christmas present somehow.
Oh, this trip
But-
hasn't happened yet.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
coming
This is
up.
upcoming.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know.
She doesn't know, so that's why it's gonna be this great, like, because she's not expecting. And I spent way too much money this year on Christmas. We didn't have anything for it, but
Hmm.
I'm like, we're treating ourselves. We're gonna
Okay.
do
Mhm.
something nice. So it gave me a good idea of a service I think Zach should offer on Backyard Road Trips, which is curated travel plans. Like if you are in
Absolutely.
the area, because he came up with this, it was so good. And he's got blog posts, so he's linking to the things he's already done.
Right.
Just where do you want to go? Here's a blog post. Here's what's great about it. And it's like, I think you should do this.
This is $1 million idea.
I think it's a great idea too.
a
It's
concierge for hire.
a
Yeah.
concierge. So we could put concierge
For
services.
local, local. I mean, we should also hire him for like, all right, we're gonna go up to Bismarck, but yeah, I mean, local travel and like, what are the cool things that we need to do? And he came up with a great itinerary for us. So,
Amazing.
what do you think, Zach?
I think it's I think it's a fantastic idea.
Ian,
It's-
what would
it's,
you pay for the service?
All right. So the scenario is that my wife and I are going to go somewhere in New England.
Mhm.
I don't know much about the area, and I need to find a guy. I'm going
Travel
online.
expert, yeah.
I'm Googling New England expert who can pretty much create my itinerary for me.
And you're not necessarily looking for the big, okay, we're not going to Disney. We're not going to go to Legoland. I want to do something. I want to go somewhere, but I
Yeah.
don't want to do all the main touristy things.
Right. Well, and moreover, I'm not going to get 10,000 people giving me their advice, which is available all over Google for free.
Right.
I am looking for a unique ability of someone who knows their stuff and can present a tailored thing for what I'm looking to do. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. For a weekend, I think your price point would be $199.99.
Wow.
Wow, there we go.
Yeah. What do you? Is that higher than you expected?
Yeah. No. Well, I think he's worth millions. I just like
Well,
you
of
said.
course, we
but-
both do.
Yeah.
But in terms of what other people think he's worth,
I think that's true. I think you should go for it, man.
So 200 for
$200 for someone who's looking to spend a weekend in New England and is desperate enough to, say, I have no idea what to do. Who can help me out and take this off my plate? I think they'd put up 200, which is a fraction
Yeah.
of what they'd spend
Right.
on the weekend.
the only
or
thing.
if you went with a real travel agent.
Right. Of
yeah.
course.
I mean, right. Yeah.
The only thing that I've done, I was telling Jim earlier, there was someone that reached out to me on Backyard Road Trips that said, could you help me plan a trip from somewhere outside of Philadelphia? It was like Norristown, Pennsylvania to Great Barrington, Massachusetts. But the key is I don't like to drive highways. So I only would like to go back roads. So I wrote back, I said, sure. So then what I did was I said, so do you want like lunch places, dinner places? Like, you're going to be taking back roads. This is going to be a bit of a journey. Like, what are you interested in? I can help you find places along the way.
So this is more of a back road yard trips.
So exactly. But she said, no, all I want to do is just not drive highways. I just want to know the routes. So the first,
Oh.
my first inclination was, go to Google Maps and
Yeah.
just type
Avoid
avoid highways. But what I did is I took it one further because we were talking like Route 2, that might be considered Route 2 in Connecticut. That's not an interstate, but it's still a highway. So you had like Route 202 in places of New Jersey that if you go and zoom in on it onto the street view, it is a highway, even though it's not labeled as a highway. So I just did the extra legwork and made sure all of the routes that I was directing her on were actual back roads and not, any kind of highway, nothing with an
you
exit.
tricked her.
So that was, so then
No,
so
you didn't trick anyone. You
No,
did
no, I
right.
did-
You
right,
did
no,
what
he
was
did the thing
required.
right. And
Yeah.
she let me know when she got there and was very thankful for,
Wow.
yep. So,
That's awesome.
Pro bono, you did this.
No. So,
Oh, you
yeah,
charged.
I charged. Yeah.
How much did you charge?
Million. So
And how much did she pay?
That I really didn't. I was like this. I just seemed this was so easy that I just said $25.
Okay.
She sent
That's
me
a
a check
steal.
for $25.
Yeah.
Fine. A
Mm.
check.
Check. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure she was nervous. You know what I mean? And I don't know how familiar she was with the area, and was kind of just really thankful for.
Did you
I
know
was
this
just like,
person in advance?
No.
How did she find you?
just the website.
That's so
Wow.
cool.
I
Yeah.
get sometimes random, people that kind of reach out for different things. But this was the first kind of like travel planning. But the travel planning is something I've always been interested in. I remember when I worked at Mystic Seaport, people used to say to someone working at the at the store and be like, "Hey, what do you recommend for dinner?" And they'd call me over, and I'd be like, "All right, what are you interested in? Are you interested in a sit down place? Do you want more of like your seafood shack? Do you want something that's not seafood at all? Do you want like what's your price point?" So kind of going from there, and I give a list of places in my itinerary, and I've always been interested in that. Even when I was a kid, we used to. My parents said to me, "We can go to any place drivable for vacation. Where do you want to go?" Guess where I picked?
Franklin, Connecticut.
No,
Hanover, Connecticut.
Pittsburgh.
Oh,
jeez.
Pittsburgh. So I planned the whole, found the hotels, used the AAA guides, everything, and got like, a nice trip to Pittsburgh. We had a wonderful time.
I'll say that when we did the
Mm-hmm.
that live thing in Billerica,
Yeah.
that seemed to be like a really popular. People were asking you questions and like, "Where have you been?" And
Right.
like, "Oh, and anywhere out in this part of the state?" And you were like, "Oh yeah, here you can go check this out."
Right.
You're like a walking encyclopedia of like backyard
Road
hidden
trip.
gems.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hence the name of the website and podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always been a real big passion of mine. I mean, even that's one thing I wish I could do a little bit more with the kids. It's a little tougher to be like, "Hey, Jackie and kids, let's drive out 2.5 hours today to go to this rail trail that I found in New Hampshire. And what else are we going to do there? We're going to walk it. And then we're going to drive home." You know what I mean? Like, I can't sell that as much as I used to be able to sell it.
Hmm.
So now it's been a little bit less of that, but it's more events. Like when we're going to the Vermont thing, I'm sure we'll do a couple things around the area, and I'll jam pack a lot of stuff in because that's what I do when I travel like that. So yeah, but that's always been a passion. It's kind of the travel planning expert. So if anybody wants to have their trip planned, reach out to Backyard Road Trips.
does your wife show you the kind of respect you deserve? The kind of gratitude? And when we're talking about how much people would pay for this sort of things, you
Right.
found someone who actually did pay for this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife does
telling my
not
wife
have to
paid-
pay. She
Oh, I
gets
see.
free access to this information. She must worship you.
Oh, on the ground I walk on. On the ground I walk on. Yeah, she's
Worships the ground you want.
with palm, like fronds
That's
of
good.
palm.
That's good. You deserve someone like that.
That's actually she to give her a little credit. So she's very very savvy with finding really cool places that are off the beaten path. Like remember we went to a small town in Maine of Harpswell, and it was just for the day she was coming. This is before we were married, and my family was staying there, and she came and she had like a list of like 4 or 5 places that she was digging deep with research of like this place is super. It's like giant staircase to go. It was called the Giant Stairs because it looked like it was
Giant
like rock
stairs?
formation. So yeah, it was just a big staircase. So different things like that she had lined up for us. I was like, wow, you did it really. Maybe she's trying to impress me to get to that side.
She knows
there.
that kind of stuff really gets you going.
Definitely, yeah, nothing like a good staircase. Big file cabinet up near Burlington.
No statues or
so-
limbless. Okay. Now, Ian, as you know, we'd like to do a lot of trivia on this
There
episode.
you go. That's my thing.
I know. I'm
This is
just
a plug,
stealing
by
it.
the way.
Yeah.
Our Red and White at Silver has trivia every single episode that I think some people might enjoy.
I gotta say, Ian is a great facilitator of it too. He goes right
you.
from topic to topic. It's real good, and
you very
and
much.
he has some fantastic questions that make us pretty engaged too when we're trying to guess at the trivia. I have no real trivia, but I do want to know what
think
your
of some.
favorite. Yeah, Zach will. He'll come up with something. Yeah, I mean,
Hit me,
you guys
Zach.
should do some presidential things. Do you have a hidden gem in the area since
Oh, like my own backyard road trip.
or how about this? Yeah, hidden gem. But like, is there a place that you visited that you discovered a hidden gem? Like, it wasn't something that was told. You just like, oh, this is, you know what? I went to this place, this town one time, and they had this, and this is where you should always check out.
Okay. Well, nothing that grand. But I will say, recently I did stumble upon a place.
Ooh.
It was one of the incredible coincidences of my life. I am driving with my 2 sons, Arden and Dylan. They're in the back seat, and we're listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. How familiar are you with the Hamilton?
Yeah,
Only Nick
decent.
Hamilton. Yeah.
No, not Nick. Alexander Hamilton.
Ah,
Have you listened at all? Do you know
Yes.
these songs, Jim?
No. Actually, yes.
You
but
avoided the Hamilton craze for the last 7 years.
I teach
the only
US
experience I
history
had
one.
was someone called me and said, "Can you listen to this song and tell me how it's played?" And I did that, and that's my only thing. But anyway, go on.
Did you charge? 199.
Should have.
99.
You know
Okay.
what? That's good to be.
So we are listening to the Hamilton soundtrack, and the song, it's called Farmer Refuted.
I don't know if that one. Yeah.
Okay, well, it starts with a guy named Samuel Seabury, who's talking a bit hoity-toity. He is a conservative during the Revolution, so he is advocating in favor of being loyal and sticking with the crown, and he's discouraging Hamilton and others from speaking out against the crown and promoting this Continental Congress, etc. And we're listening to this song, which is a great song. Everyone loves it. And as we're driving along the road, I see a sign for a house that said, "This is Samuel Seabury's house."
Oh, wow.
where he was
Wow.
born. This is okay. So I should say this is in Ledyard, Connecticut, our hometown. And it was in a road that I had never traveled because we were coming home from a place that we had never been to before. And so we're driving. And then as we're listening to the song, I'm like, well, that can't be the same Samuel Seabury. But I have to know. So I pull over and I'm on Wikipedia and I look up Samuel Seabury. And he was a member of the Anglican Church. And he was born, I think, in New London and then lived in Ledyard. And I'm like, that's Samuel
Wow.
Seabury's house that we just drove by
That's wild.
in Ledyard, near Colonel Ledyard Highway. And so that was my recent hidden gem that I uncovered out of nowhere.
That's pretty cool. That's
That
for our
is.
young synchronicity stuff.
And speaking of Ledyard, you tasked me last year, if you recall, of coming up with a backyard road trip to Ledyard because we mentioned Hanover, and there wasn't really, even from my standards, not too much.
Right.
In the little section, Sprague would be fine, but Hanover is a little difficult. So you said, how about Ledyard? So I've been working on it, and I've been to the Uptown Sawmill as part of that. I'm going to be doing the Mashantucket Pequot Museum as well. What else was going to be? Glacial Park is going to be on that article on Ledyard, Moggle Sierra Winery, and let me think. That's all.
That's a pretty good list already.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to stay away from like Foxwoods. Like that's too mainstream.
Yeah. Will this be a blog post eventually?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. I look
So
forward
I've
to that.
been you tasked me last year with that, and I've been
I tasked you.
doing that. So the interesting thing was, so that is so cool that it was right there, and you
Right
were
there.
able to just
I had no idea.
just stumble upon it.
Yeah.
Do you want some little trivia?
Yeah, let's do
Please.
it.
All right. So first trivia question: which?
Off the cuff right now.
Yeah.
Jim, you can attest. We're looking at Zach. There's nothing in front of him. When I
No,
do trivia
no.
on red and white at silver, I have my computer there. I got my questions listed.
What
I
we'll
put in
do?
my time, but you're just
I'll do
off the cuff.
I'll do first with president, then the other four. You tell me a topic, and I'll come up with a question.
Wow.
on the-
That's
Wild.
like a magician.
The first one: what president was also a distiller?
He distilled.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to
Good
guess,
question.
Whiskey distiller.
if I had to guess, I'd guess Andrew Jackson.
Thomas Jefferson.
George Washington.
He
And you
distilled.
can actually go to his distillery, and they still make
Wow.
off of the mash bill at Mount Vernon today.
Wow.
So, fun fact. What's the next
Are you a
category
big
you
drinker,
want?
by the way?
Good tidbit.
I don't know that I've
drink. I
ever-
drink zero. I'm a teetotaler. I never.
Right.
I'm 40 years sober this year.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Cool.
I will say, I'm a big trivia guy. I love trivia stuff. I'm part of a trivia league that gets sent 6 questions every day.
Oh, that's
Pretty
cool.
challenging stuff, and it monitors how well you do in certain categories.
Mm-hmm.
One of its categories is alcohol related things, and I swing and a miss. Trivial Pursuit my entire life. Anything alcohol comes up,
Mhm.
even if it's connected to a president. Apparently, I still can't get over that hump of knowing something about alcohol.
What's your category?
I will go science fiction.
Ooh, science fiction.
I got him. You can't do this off the cuff, Zach. This was too much. Jim will cut this dead space
This science fiction novel
Okay.
is also the name of an early U2 song.
Ooh.
later. It's a novel and a U2 song. See, now I got to know my U2. This is the problem. Like I know my Washington, I don't know my distilleries.
Mhm.
So if I just don't know one component of it, it all falls apart. Was there a sci-fi novel called Beautiful Day?
I don't
From
think
Jim's laughter,
so.
I take it it's a no.
Well, I don't think that song or that album would be considered early U2.
Did you say early U2?
Early U2. Early.
All right.
I can tell you
Where the streets have no name. That sounds like a great sci-fi novel.
Yeah, I agree with
That's
you.
true. It
Yeah.
sounds like a post-apocalyptic.
Right.
Yeah.
It's off. I just looked at the album it's off of. Off of October.
I don't know my
Even though they
U2.
had a,
I don't know
album
my
named
U2.
October.
Very
U2's
early.
too modern for my taste. Go ahead. You got it.
Stranger in a Strange Land.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have known that as a U2 song.
Yeah, neither me.
No,
Okay.
another category, please.
My next category
Mhm.
will be sports.
Okay.
Mm.
Sports. Do you ever do Immaculate Grid, by the way?
No.
You don't know Immaculate Grid?
It's a current thing. Oh, is this when you have to guess like a player based
The
on
teams.
clues?
No, it's like the team. Well, yeah, you'd have a grid, and it would be like Red Sox, Tigers, and you have to think of a player that played on the Red Sox and Tigers together. So you could say Rob Deere.
David Price.
So or
Okay.
Rob Deere.
Yeah,
So,
Rob Deere.
and the lower percentage, the more like bragging rights you get.
Yeah, right.
So,
The lower
yeah.
percentage of people who got it correct.
Yes, so like a
Yeah.
Rob Deere might be a 1%, where David Price would be like a 30%.
Right. Okay.
So it's every day at 9:00. There's a new one released.
Did Chris Sale play for the Tigers?
Chris Sale played for the White Sox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he also
right.
didn't like his jerseys too much and cut them right up. Red Sox trivia? What are you looking
Sure,
for?
yeah. Red Sox. Yeah, New England sports always ideal.
Okay, Red Sox trivia. During the years of Tony Peña's starting catcher gig for the Red Sox, who was the backup catcher? He later, I believe, died by
Damon Berryhill?
falling. Damon Berryhill was, but that was going to be a little bit later.
That sounds like a win. I mean, he did answer.
No. During, I won't want to say that Berryhill and Peña.
They might not have crossed over.
Yeah.
Well, without Berryhill, so we're talking early 90s. Before
90,
Berryhill.
91.
Yes, the backup catcher on the early 90s Sox. He got me. Who is it?
John Marzano.
Haven't thought about him in 30 years.
Yeah. He's passed.
You make tough trivia questions.
I
Yes,
do make tough.
yeah.
I'm trying.
Holy smokes.
You got another? Okay, what another category? I'll try to give a softball pitch on this
Who were
one.
the last 4 kickers for the New England Patriots? Should be pretty.
Well,
easy.
Chad Ryland has made a mess of it this year.
Yeah.
Nick Folk was pretty
Mhm.
solid before him.
Kostowski was
Kostowski and then Vinatieri.
Vinatieri.
Excellent. You just covered
Yeah,
the last
so
30
nice.
years of. Yeah.
But before Vinatieri, I don't think I could tell you.
Yeah.
Stojovski?
What about this? Should be an easy one then. I believe he was the punter for the Patriots. His name sounds similar to an Adam Sandler movie.
When was he punter?
5 years ago, 7 years ago.
recently.
You Can't Mess with the Blank is the movie title, or
So
something.
Zohan would be the movie.
There you go.
What is it?
Yeah.
Is that the guy's name was Zohan?
Well, similar.
Jeez, I can't think. Of
But
it
this was
either.
going to be a softball pitch.
It should be. I would have expected to know the punter 5
So
years ago with
Zohan.
a name
Yeah.
similar to Zohan.
No?
No.
Zoltan Mesko.
Nope.
No.
Wow. No.
Wow, I
definitely
missed
would've
him.
gotten that.
Was he only there for a little bit?
I got a little couple
Yeah, you
of
picked up
mistakes.
like some. It's the.
How did you
it's the,
forget the
like,
name? Watch him not
place
even be a
kicker
picture.
that Bill drafted in the 3rd round of the. Yeah.
Zoltan, wasn't he in Big, the machine that gave him the wish to be
He
big?
was drafted by the Patriots in the 2010 draft.
Okay.
He
Well,
was
more than
there
5 years ago.
2010 to 2012, so it was a little longer than ago.
That's 2 seasons.
Okay, so it's longer ago than I
Okay.
thought. But
Yeah, a pretty
Zoltan
obscure
Mesko,
skill.
So, geez, these are strike 1, strike 2,
No,
strike
it's
3,
actually
strike
doing a great
4.
job.
How about last category then?
Space race.
Oh, geez,
Who won it?
Space race.
USA, baby.
Nice.
The space
Too specific,
race.
maybe.
No, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
How about space
Ooh, okay.
or race?
Where is the space capital of Alabama? What city?
Tuscaloosa?
Huntsville.
Huntsville. Why is it the space capital of Alabama?
I don't know,
What
but I
is the
believe
space
there's-
capital of Rhode Island?
Well,
I don't-
because
what does that
what-
mean?
well, I mean, like you think Cape Canaveral would be,
Of course.
Then you got Houston,
Houston.
But I believe Huntsville is another one that's.
But you don't know why.
I don't know why.
So every
That's-
trivia question, have you noticed Zach takes out his phone and starts
I'm
looking
looking. Well,
things
right
up?
now
Like,
I'm
he doesn't
I'm
know what
double
he's talking
checking
about.
myself here. Huntsville, Alabama. We're gonna go look up space.
And then you're going to Google,
Space Center. Yeah, the
there's a
Rocket
space center there. Okay.
Yeah, U.S. Space and Rocket Centers in Huntsville, Alabama. You can go there for $30.
I wonder maybe if they made some rockets there.
They could have.
Maybe JPL.
All right.
How
Here's
how many presidents have been related to each other?
the
How close?
Adamses.
Because, I always see these things that, like,
Yeah, like Obama was
28 of
related
them,
to.
they're all like
yeah.
Freemasons or something.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
They
blood
invented the COVID
related,
vaccine.
and we'll say no more than not like you are my great nephew's
Right.
Right.
brothers.
So we got the two father-son combos.
Yeah,
Bushes and
Adams,
Adams.
Bush. You've got Harrison.
This is by the way a question for our guest
oh,
here.
shoot, sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna know everything.
William
Sorry.
Henry Harrison and Benjamin Harrison were
Mm-hmm.
grandson and grandfather, although in reverse order. And the Roosevelts, I think, were second cousins. There might be a removed in there.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I'm just thinking those are just the last names, of course, in common. But then we might have some in-law situations. I don't know. You know any more?
That's what I got too.
No. But yeah, I think they're all like strangely, so many of them are strangely
Mhm.
related by marriage and cousin-in-laws. And
Here's a better one. Better
Okay.
question for you.
ouch, Jim, did you hear that?
No.
Yeah,
Better
it's
than the one I've been saying. Jim's is a great one.
An
Hakeem
answerable question.
Hakeem
in some-
Olajuwon.
Mm-hmm.
After he left the Rockets, what 2 teams did he play for?
The Rockets.
Go
He didn't retire a Rocket. That's a travesty.
Go in
He
category
was an
of Rockets.
incredible Rocket.
I know. It's crazy. Some of these players that played for other teams.
Did he go chase a third ring somewhere? Remember Hakeem,
Teams.
Jim?
You remember Hakeem Olajuwon?
I do, but my memory cuts off pretty much at the mid 90s for basketball.
Well, Toronto's one,
Yeah, Toronto is one.
but I would have stopped there. I would have said he played for only one more team.
Mhm.
Supersonics.
There was, yeah.
I
You got
got
it.
it right.
You
Holy
got it.
crap.
Seattle.
Was that his last stop?
No,
So Seattle, then
Toronto
Toronto.
was. Yeah,
Wow.
Seattle. How about Patrick Ewing after the Knicks?
Oh, Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think
He might
so.
have some time in Washington.
Did he? I know Orlando would be the.
Who was
what I
the
thinking.
shortest basketball player in the NBA?
Muggsy Bogues.
Was he shorter than John Stockton? Are you sure?
Yeah, Muggsy Bogues was 5'3".
you are right. You are right. Now, I was reading recently that there is some dispute of whether or not Muggsy could dunk or not. What do you two
No,
believe?
I do not believe a
Peop-
5'3" player can dunk.
Spud Webb did.
Spud Webb did?
5'8",
Yeah.
big 5 inches.
People said he never dunked. Muggsy never dunked in a game, but they say in practices he could do it. I don't know
Wow.
how.
5'3".
That's crazy.
That is. It's like a springboard.
Yeah,
for him.
they had a couple of base cheerleaders propping him up, maybe, but I don't know how that.
What
It's a big vertical.
NBA big died in Colchester?
Wow, that's not where my wife teaches in Colchester.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I should ask her.
She might know.
There's a big guy died in Colchester.
Died in Colchester.
How big was he?
Shaq.
Very big.
Oh, him.
Very big. Very
Still very
tall.
much
I mean, this
alive.
airs in a month, so who knows?
It's-
But the Mikan
No way.
No, more modern.
Wilt.
That last shrimp.
If I were going to say one of the tallest basketball players that ever played.
Manute Bol.
Yes.
Really?
Oh,
And I saw him
Colchester.
once at the casino. I'm like, that's Manute Bol. There's no way in hell it's not
you,
Manute Bol.
you don't mistake him.
And I guess he
Is that
spent a lot
Manute
of
or
time.
Muggsy?
He spent a lot of time at not Foxwoods, Mohegan Sun.
Okay.
And his later. yeah.
Well, let's
And
go
his
in-
son Bol is kicking around.
Yeah,
I don't know
he
what
was
he's up
supposed
to
be
now. He
quite
was in
a-
Boston for a while, I think.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a really big prospect, and then
Yeah, literally big.
yeah, literally
Yeah.
big.
Well, gang, we're
Yeah,
gonna have to
probably wrap
wind
it
us
up.
up.
Yeah.
We have another guest for Red and White and Silver
We
coming in.
do.
Yeah,
We even we got the
It's-
beeping over there.
it's,
Yeah, no,
uh,
you see my I got
Brian
one of these
Lanu, I
old
think. Yeah, the
watches.
state
Yeah.
representative, Brian Lanu.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. he'll
Oh,
be
and
coming in
to
here soon.
clarify, you were on 3 episodes. You did make a
Oh,
cameo
on the-
appearance
that's
at the
right.
back of
Dane Rue and
Oh, 3.
3.
yeah. Oh,
Yes.
so
That
you're
magic
I'm almost
number.
there.
So we'll have to count
I'm
up.
coming for you,
count up
Andy
it.
Burnett.
Yeah, we'll have to count up his numbers and see.
Yeah.
See who. Yeah.
that's a good. All right.
Well, this is a Backyard Road Trips podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Jim.
And I've been Ian Cheney this whole time.
There he is, Mr. Lon. So again, if you are interested in reaching out about the NFA at Silver podcast, you can find us on Backyard Road Trips at social media, at Twitter. No, it's called X now. Sorry. X, Instagram, or Facebook,
Craigslist misconnections.
or backyardroadtrips.com. And I think I'm just keeping going on. That's all right. You can cut that last part.
No, we're gonna keep it.
Okay, we can
Well,
keep
let
it.
This one be unedited.
Yeah, whatever.
All
Screw
right.
it. So
What's your favorite swear word? Give myself a little homework here.
this would be the good one for the as a promo.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm a D guy, sometimes a GD.
Oh,
Yeah,
darn or gosh darn.
exactly.
I see it. I see.
All right. We'll see you later.